Live, I think. Yeah, we're live. There we go.
Are you with Christian?
No, he's at home. I'm in Des Plaines. We're meeting up afterwards.
How's the weather?
It's 8 degrees Celsius and cloudy, kind of. I mean, it's partly cloudy. How much is that? 8 C to Fahrenheit. That's 46 degrees Fahrenheit.
Dude, I'm like, this drive this weekend is like, I don't know if I'm mentally like even realizing that that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like,
It'd be fun. It's like it's a 9 hour, 10 hour drive. I mean, it's gonna be
I
awesome.
know it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a great time, but it like doesn't feel like real. Like
Yeah,
I got a lot I got to do between now and then. Like I'm trying to figure out. So I want to get like some. I'm gonna go to Kinko's and like print a bunch of stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna print, but I'm gonna print a bunch of stuff, and I'm just gonna be like confettiing something. I don't know what.
guerrilla marketing.
Something weird. I don't know what though.
Yeah, so we're talking about F3 right now. Reed's
Yeah,
flying in on Saturday to
yeah.
Chicago. Sunday morning, we're leaving from Chicago to Chattanooga, which will be exciting. Um, Christian's not here yet, but here, I'm going to pull up a map. I'm going to
How do
present.
we? Is there?
1 second.
Hold on. I gotta like. How do I like share that we're doing this? Like, is that possible? How do
Yeah.
I do that?
Well, I mean, sure. Yeah, this is definitely a sweet road trip. So it's 600 miles from Chicago to Chattanooga. It's a 10-hour drive. I mean, with stops and breaks. So here, I'm gonna just do car. Let's see what the options are. So we could drive through Champaign, my alma
Dude,
mater.
there's this truck stop. There's this truck stop that has a like an embroidery shop in it, and they like make stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's in Indy. Not in. I think it's like near Indianapolis. So I kind of want to like try to stop there. You ever seen those? You ever seen that on Twitter? There's that guy that everyone posts. I mean, he's from Facebook, but it's that Uncle Kevin guy. And he's got all those crazy hats that say like.
I don't think so.
Dude, okay. I'll send you the picture after. You've seen him. I guarantee you have.
Okay.
But apparently this guy gets all of his swag from this truck stop in Indiana, and I kind of want to go there.
Trying to find out what truck stop that is.
I will. I'll find out like right now.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me text Chris.
All three of these routes are more or less the same. I mean, this one has the least amount of miles, and it's only a 17-minute drive longer. So we could definitely take a scenic route if needed.
Oh, by the way, I have a CB radio. I talked to Rob. He's got his CB radio.
Oh my God.
He's just worried. He's just worried that he said he drives like a grandma, and he doesn't know if me or Paul are speed demons. And I told him that might be a problem. But,
that's fine. I'm gonna have Derek. Derek's gonna be driving, and he drives safely. So don't worry. We'll just be following Rob, or Rob will be following us. We gotta be rolling together. We're not like
this is a convoy. It's a convoy.
It's a convoy. Yeah. Okay, so it was funny. Like, I flew into Chicago 2 days ago. My sister picked me up, and we're like at the stoplight, and like right next to us is like this car with like just a regular like I don't know SUV with like the longest antenna I've ever seen in my life. Like literally, my sister and I are just laughing because there's like the antenna is like really long, and his license plate was CB Boys, and. I was actually about to take a photo, but it ended up being a green light and like it drove away. But it was like literally like I'm like my sister's like, why does he have such a large antenna? I'm like, he's probably broadcasting across.
Dude, that's awesome. I kind of want to be that guy. Not gonna lie. Hey, type this truck stop in. It's called Petro, Fremont, Indiana. It's the Petro truck stop in Fremont, Indiana.
Petro, Fremont, Indiana.
Yeah, so just add it on the route and see what it does.
Put it in the middle though. Yeah.
Okay, it's
oh shit! It's all the way over there. God.
Yeah. I mean, it would add an additional hour.
We don't have to do that if we don't want to. I didn't realize. I thought it would be like closer to. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's probably not worth it. I mean, we could do it because it's only an hour and a half hour long drive. Like. Extra.
We really don't have to. I was literally just gonna go and like just walk by this thing and see if I could get a hat made. But if I couldn't, then it's fine. Don't even worry about it.
We should figure out what are like the best truck stops. Like,
why don't we let's you know what? I'm gonna text a bunch of truckers right now and ask them. So what are the so 65? What is the normal route? Remove this truck stop and let's see what the normal route is. What is it? 65?
it's typically 65, but we could also go through Champaign, and stop by for some really good Mexican food. But I think, or we could go, or Indianapolis. I'm not sure like which route is better. Like more or less, these routes are all the same.
Should we put it to? We should put it like out as like a poll. Which route we should take? I mean, not that maybe nobody really cares, and that's fine. But like, we should make this. We should crowdsource our route.
We will abide by the results of this poll.
Hold on. How do we?
Trying to see the
comments here.
I think it'd be awesome to go through like a really awesome truck stop. And like let's just see like
let me do this.
Best truck stops in the United States. I'm gonna Google that right now. And then
is that actually a thing? I wonder if that's a thing. If there's somebody who's tracking the
so Trucker Tools wrote an article of 10 best truck stops of America. Let's see if there's anyone around our route. Okay, Iowa, that's known. I've been to the Kenly, North Carolina one like at 2 a.m. last year, like randomly. It was actually pretty cool. Okay.
How do they rate this? I'm curious. But
wait 1 second. I'm gonna check how they rate it. I just see there's nothing along our route top 10. According to
I hope Carrie's watching and watching us fall into her SEO trap right now.
Yeah.
Top 10 best truck stops. Some marketing person spent like 15 hours on that post right there.
Okay, let's see what Hail Trailer Brake and Wheel has to say. There's one. They put one in Corinth, Kentucky, which is maybe along the way. Let's see here. Corinth, Kentucky. Okay, we could stop at this one in Corinth, Kentucky. Let's just pull it up here real quick. All right, it's rated 15th. Barely made the list, but hey, out of all the truck stops in the country, it's still not bad. Okay, Noble's Restaurant and Truck Stop. Online review score 2.5. Wait, what?
Is this out of 3?
It's wait, what? Noble is it like the worst truck stops of America? Wait, Noble's Restaurant and Truck Stop. All right, let's see here. Okay, it's got 3.9 of 1,200 reviews. I mean, it looks pretty cool. Definitely got a vibe. That's for sure. This random like Amazon
pickup.
Oh my gosh,
this does not fit in there at all.
You can pick up your Amazon box while you eat.
Well, I kind of like the vibes here. I'm not sure if it's like worth going to.
Dude,
but
we gotta ask some actual like truckers where we should stop. Like I'm not.
Might get.
I'm gonna text a bunch of people right now.
Yeah.
Also, any cool.
Unique information 0. Customers call Nobles the best kept secret, but we're letting you in on the news. This little mom and pop truck stop is determined to help truckers any way they can, especially with the good all-American country meal.
Nice.
From offering military discounts to gender-neutral bathrooms, you'll get a warm welcome and a variety of services to meet your needs.
Right. Let's go, baby.
All right. Well,
yeah, we've got plenty of resources to here, hold on.
Oh, Basic Block had one too. Let's see what they wrote up about it.
Hold on. Let's see. That's such a classic, like we're trying to drive SEO, like keywords and stuff like that.
Oh, I know.
I love this. It's great.
What would I do?
All right, I'll put it in the Discord.
I think we could go to this one right here. Seems to be along the way. Yeah, there's one right outside of Chicago that's supposedly pretty good. Sunday morning, go there.
Mach 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Mach 1. That's
all right.
Is that a truck stop? I mean, I guess. Supersonic Quench. It's got a Little Caesar's pizza on it. Pizza.
Guys, I never asked you this, but have you actually ever done an overnight trip in a truck before?
Never.
I've never done overnight, no.
No? It's an interesting
not overnight.
experience, especially when you're like can't find parking at a middle of a truck stop, but you like have no idea anybody there. And then just every food option is like a Wendy's or like a McDonald's. I never tried the showers though. That's the one thing I have not like done the checklist. I don't know how that, but I didn't know how I felt about it either. But interesting experience. We should all do it. We should all do it sometime. I think Paul, didn't you drive? You drove like in the middle of the day though, right? Like
in the middle of the day. Yeah, it's always crazy. Like for me to like, I keep having to remind myself that like you used to like drive a truck, even though it was like for other purposes than actually driving a truck. You were driving in order to build technology for trucks. You still got a CDL and you're like running lanes. That's like crazy to think like. Like imagine sitting just kind of like a truck stop, like hanging out with truck drivers. Like that's
shout out American Truck Simulator and Steam.
What? Oh wow, they caught the misspelling.
They fixed your error.
Yeah, it wasn't my error. I did not submit it misspelled. They did. They misspelled it.
Here, we should probably do an honorary freight gong.
Bang.
I don't know if anyone's downloaded the F3 app yet. But let's go. Shout out Monet Transport. Just added them to the Gong last night. And also we did do some surgery to the Gong yesterday. We randomized the order of the sponsors each time. So refresh the page.
Nice.
Yeah, so at each time it'll randomize what order they appear in.
Cool.
So because I know like some of the later people like basically had to wait 45 seconds to see their logo. Now it's fair.
Nice.
So that's like some new improvements to the Gong.
Cool. Shout out to our 4,200 followers, by the way.
Dude, go private. Go private right now.
Is that anything to do? Just go private?
Yeah, dude. Close it. Shut it down. We're over. Done.
So this wait 1 second. So this read F3 demoing freight gong. This is a shout out to Christian for making this, but this is like literally like spot on. So Reed will be demoing freight gong at F3.
Reed, this is you 100%. When I saw this, I was like, I've seen this before, but this is totally Reed.
Dude,
yeah,
I
I
hate to break it to you guys. I can't dance like that. I really can't.
I bet if you tried, you could.
No.
Enough drinks, late night partying at F3. I'm pretty sure you can pull it off.
I mean, maybe actually.
I'm shocked at how many views this post got. Like, I mean, and people like literally some like Christian's friend texted him like, "Are you okay?" LOL.
Dude, I thought you got hacked when I even fell for this. I don't really fall for tweets, and I fell for this.
That's funny because what's his name was done.
Done deal.
Was saying that when Lost Reed hacks your account, and the funny thing was like Reed thought my account got hacked.
Yeah, no joke. Like I
okay, dude, Truck Stop. The guy that runs Truck Stop like social media deserves a raise. Like
he's gonna be at F3. We're gonna party with him.
This right here, it was so funny. Not a good start to the day. Truck Stop depends on who you ask, and then Truck Stop. But did we lie? That was amazing. I don't know.
Did you see that? Did you see that Billy changed his account to a DAT parody account?
I did. Yeah. That was pretty funny. I'm wondering if he's gonna get the blue check mark on that.
I think you're good as long as you say parody.
I think that he should just put DAT parody account because like the name is way too long right now.
Yeah, but it does have parody, so it's abiding by the rules. So
It's so long that nobody will see that it says parody.
Yeah.
Unless you click on the profile, but then it is the case for sure.
All right. What do you guys think of our new logo?
Dude, I like the one that was like the whale fish. Like
the swordfish?
No. The one that I said, like, come on, remove your damn name from the logo. Like
a logo that doesn't include their name in it. And dude, the funny thing is, because I know you talked about this before, I had it prepared. Like as soon as I was looking at images like that, and as soon as I responded to your tweet, I think within like 10 seconds, because I had it like already set. So like this is the one. I mean,
that thing is crazy. Yeah, that is only AI can come up with something like that.
That's actually really cool. I like that one.
Dude, wait, I love okay, Andrew Silver commented, I just spent $50 to see how Dolly did it for me. I think it likes you more than me. Okay, I don't know.
Guy's got no clue how to prompt AI.
What is this right here?
I think he just needs to run with that.
Oh, dude, that was great. But yeah, we got some good feedback on here. There was actually some pretty good ones for the Freight Pod that came
the
up.
one that Santosh posted was really cool. I would really like that one for the. Or I think you replied to him.
Yeah, I replied to Santosh on that.
That was really cool.
I don't like the reply settings on Twitter. Like I feel like they're like
you gotta go deep, and it's tough.
Yeah, sometimes like it doesn't even show up.
So this is a good opportunity to like retweet or repost or quote tweet.
AI Dolly. So if anyone uses, let's see. I want to pull up.
Chris Indie Trucker, who is going to provide us our route. He said there's a bunch of construction on one of these routes that we want to avoid.
Where do you see this? Did he comment somewhere?
In the Discord. In the Discord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. What Sharm in the comments is telling me he's going to teach me. What is he going to teach me? Give me an hour at F3. Oh, the dance, maybe. Hopefully the dance.
The dance. Yeah, the dance.
All right. Well, if I can learn how to dance like that guy before my presentation, I just won't even present anything. I'll just go up there and do that dance.
Awesome. By the way, everyone that's listening, we're going to have a special guest come on in about 13 minutes from OTR Solutions. Talk a little bit about
Is he a special guest? Or is he a guest?
He's a special guest.
Okay, all right, cool.
So here's another update. If you guys are at F3, if you come up to us at F3, me, Christian, I'll even give some stickers to read if you want to partake. Then you whisper sticker in our ears, we'll slip you a Freight Caviar, a sticker discreetly, like a drug deal. Just randomly came up with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I screwed up and I didn't get any stickers. I like am always unprepared for these things.
Dude, I didn't get business cards, but I'm gonna just use the QR code like I did last time. But I do prefer having physical business cards. I think people remember that.
I have those.
Yeah, I used to be a sticker like hoarder on my laptop, and like top to bottom, it was just all stickers.
Same.
And then after I got my M1 MacBook, I was just like, nothing. It's got to be clean. And now I got to figure out what to do with where to put these Freight Caviar stickers. But I'll find somewhere to put them. But
we'll make it work. All right.
Chris has to take the western route, by the way, which is the one that goes through Champaign and goes down.
There's such an amazing Mexican restaurant in Maiz and Champaign that we're going to stop in. It is so good.
I mean, I'm down to take that route. That sounds good.
We'll stop at U of I, which is my alma mater. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have a good time. I could show you my fraternity where I lived. It'll be fun.
What time are we going to get to Chattanooga if we do that?
I mean,
if we leave early, we just need to leave early, man. We need to leave early.
I mean, we'll leave I think we'll leave at 9 a.m., right? Like
that's a crazy time to leave. Like we got to leave at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, I was planning 6 a.m.
Wait. No, we're not gonna leave at 6 a.m. Come on, let's be realistic here. Why?
Realistic? It's a 9-hour.
That's what
It's
you
like a
do.
10-hour
That's
road
road
trip. We're
trips.
planning on all these stops. Like,
yeah, like we should get some rest. We're gonna be driving. Like, let's wake up like at 7. Like, eat some breakfast and go. Like, we're not like we don't have anything planned. We could arrive Sunday like at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Like, it's fine. You know, like we don't have to like rush to get there. We could have like I don't know, like I would say like 8 a.m. like would be great to leave. Like, I mean, if we leave at 8 a.m., we'll realistically get there probably like around 7, 8 p.m.
I already know what's gonna happen right now. You're gonna say we're gonna leave at 8 a.m. and it's gonna be like 8:02, and we're gonna be like 45 minutes out from leaving.
That's not true. I like that. I'm pretty like scheduled person. Like if like I say we're gonna leave at 8 a.m., like I'll make sure we leave at 8 a.m. I mean, I like here, if you guys want to leave at 6 a.m., like I would say like let's leave at 7 a.m. Like I'm okay with 7 a.m. If you guys
all right, I've got you down 2 hours, so that's good. All right, yeah, that's
road trips are so much more fun the earlier you leave.
Yeah, and also we don't like we don't want to be driving in like the middle of the night if we can avoid it. You know what I mean?
So interesting enough, the times change from Saturday to Sunday, so we're actually going to get an hour extra sleep. So technically, we could probably leave at 6 a.m. because that's technically 7 a.m. now. Because we're gaining an hour. We're going to be gaining an hour of sleep.
All right. Well, whatever math you got to do in your head, like that's fine.
All right. So we could leave at 6 a.m. But I think maybe we should not bore our audience to death with this conversation. So we should probably
let's do this newsletter real quick.
All right. Okay. So this is again an interesting graph. I guess most people wouldn't be too surprised by it. But if you look at this, okay, LTL more or less stays the same for C.H. Robinson from 2019 around the quarters. What are these other logistics? What's CHB? What is that? Air freight. They all more or less stay the same. Truckload and ocean freight is the one that really dipped. Well, it really boomed and dipped during the pandemic. So pretty interesting to see the quarterly gross profit by service line. It's interesting to see the other modes kind of staying more or less the same. I thought like they would also have experienced that big spike. But
you know what was also interesting is the fact that this graph is actually done correctly in terms of like the x-axis and not like the last two columns are like different. Like for example, like the last 2 months of the year. Remember how like JB Hunt did their graph where it was like here's like year, and then most recent quarter, last recent quarter, and it's like an absolute drop off. So at least finally, like there's a good graph. But
that was from the quarter 2 report for JB Hunt, who was reposted by our boy Ben, who reshared that. Yeah, that was definitely a controversial post. Panama Canal keeps drying up. Reed, why are you so quiet?
Sorry, I won't even. I'm not even going to say why. I'm back though. This guy. So what? The long story short with this guy, it was a big misunderstanding, and he had actually been paid.
Yeah, he actually had been paid. Yeah,
that's like the most classic situation ever. Like
he went on like the podcast, Real Freight Talk podcast yesterday. And he kind of explained the whole situation with Matt and Alex.
I mean, nice.
Yeah. What else is going on?
There's 43 people listening to us on LinkedIn right now, which is kind of cool.
Don't you guys have anything better to do? You should be booking freight right now.
Let's see here. This is the increase in freight flows between the U.S. and North American partners, Canada and Mexico. So definitely see a large spike. Matt Sliver tweeted that out yesterday. Here's the link for that.
Mexico is definitely booming, and it's going to keep booming because it's definitely going to be exciting to see. Like manufacturing coming back to North America.
Hit up Monet Transport for all your cross-border Mexico needs. They can no cross-docking, single trailer, pick up in Mexico, deliver across border. So shout out Monet Transport.
Oh, nice. I didn't know they do cross border.
Yeah, dude. They've got like their family started like one of the bigger fleets in Mexico. Like,
nice.
Like their whole, they're entrenched down there. What else is on here?
Trucking accidents up.
That was the most surprising.
How is that possible? 71%? What about all the safety stuff that they've put on all the trucks lately? Like, are those just not working, or are they making it worse?
Dude, too many Pro Sergeys on the road. I don't know, man. Let's see here.
So the headline here is that the DOT should work fast on automatic emergency braking. And I made this prediction, at least, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, that before there's a single driverless truck that's actually commercially making money on the road, like in my view, the DOT will like require all trucks to have automatic emergency braking that are on the road today. And I'm almost certain that will happen, probably 2026, maybe 2027, the latest, but that's my bet. Prediction.
All right, the worst states here. Oh, this is actually a cool graph. I just realized now. Noticed it. Worst fatal truck crash states in 2021. New Mexico tops the list. Is everyone like on New Mexico? Jeez. Then total number of fatalities: 806 fatalities in Texas. Yikes! I mean, I guess Texas is also the largest state by population, if I'm not mistaken, right? No, maybe California.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Texas population.
I think California has no residents.
29. Okay, no, California's got 40 million people. Texas has 30 million people.
Yeah,
wow.
California's bigger,
yeah. So I mean, California's seems like it's a much safer state to drive in compared to Texas. So I don't know what
interesting
we're gonna say about that. Politically speaking, I mean, I don't know. California wins here.
You're trying to make this political?
Let's make this a very political.
I'm apolitical, but like, you know, I always just hear how everyone like on the right is bashing California for like being like a terrible state.
And how everybody on the left is bashing Texas for being a horrible state.
I mean, let's be honest though, California's sick. Like the weather, it's so nice there.
I love California, man.
It's awesome.
So there's definitely like some things that California does that I agree with. Obviously, I'm not gonna say I agree with all of them because I don't. But I saw like last week or 2 weeks ago, they banned like all these like artificial like ingredients that like are known to cause like ADHD in like kids, and like essentially all these like candy makers in the US put stuff in. And I know like their laws right now reflect the same laws that are in the EU, and I agree with that. Like those like ingredients should be banned. And I know like with the truck, the speed limit in California, I think for trucks, or like the one that they're trying to pass is I think it's 55 miles per hour. And I know like in the EU, like the limit is like 90 kilometers per hour, which is right around that 55 mile per hour kilometer. 90 kilometers per hour.
We're not letting you bring the EU respect into this. And this is not an EU podcast.
Driving in the EU
respecter time
safer than driving in the US is so much safer.
Oh my God.
So I'm just gonna say that straight up. Like, so there's some things that I definitely like agree with on California a little bit. I mean, not everything, but like,
sure. Yeah,
like
it's definitely things that you can agree with on California.
Hey, can we go to can you please go to lostfreight.com/newsletter? I'm about to start sending out today in an hour or two. Go to type of /newsletter. God, we need a link to that. I hate our landing page. Hot take right there. Jake and I were talking about it yesterday. We're going to fix it. Cool capacity. Oh, we got to update this too. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. So enter your email here, please, everybody. So you can receive cool capacity, my new email that I'm sending today as soon as I finish it. dude. What was I going to say? I switched to Beehive last night from MailChimp.
Nice.
And it took me a lot of work to figure out how to do it, mainly because I'm kind of an idiot and I was ignoring easy instructions to upload. So anyway, cool. Yeah, subscribe to that. It's going to be great. Awesome. Thank you. Great.
Nice. All right, cool. What else is there? So
I just realized, by the way, guys, that if we comment back and Reed, I see you're commenting from like
it only goes to YouTube.
Yeah, so like the LinkedIn people don't see it, which kind of
that's really stupid. I'm gonna go into the comments myself.
Yeah, I was gonna. Mostly everybody's tuning in from LinkedIn, so.
I could pin your. There you go.
All right, I'm commenting. I'm spamming everybody. There we go. Oh wow, dude, this guy. Well, I used to have long hair, so maybe I look like this guy even more. I don't know.
Hey, Clayton. Hey, Clayton.
What's up,
guys? Hey. Good. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Hanging in there, having some fun here.
Yeah, I saw there was some planning, some early risers, some folks that like to sleep in, maybe.
Yep. We're here a little bit planning out F3. We'll be there next week. I think you're going to be there next week too, right?
Yep. I'll be there.
Awesome.
I may be less further along scheduling when I'm going to be up there, but yeah, I'll be up there at some point. So.
Awesome. Good stuff. Clayton, could you, I guess, introduce yourself to the audience, kind of tell them who you are and what your expertise is?
Sure. So my name is Clayton Griffin. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer at OTR Solutions. I've been at OTR since 2012, kind of shortly after we were founded. We were founded in 2011 with a focus on servicing kind of small and medium-sized trucking companies in the factoring space. We've since continued to kind of grow the business and expand. So we focus obviously still on that small owner operator, but also, fleets of 10 or 50 or 100 or multiple hundred trucks from a factoring perspective. We also service brokers via working capital. So either brokerage factoring or things of that nature, which I think is maybe a fun topic of conversation right now with how the industry has, where the industry's been heading over the last year.
How do you guys decide when to cut a broker off?
How do we decide?
Yes.
Straight to it.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, when they stop paying us or start paying us significantly slower. So, I mean, we have our team kind of on the credit and accounts receivable side. We have teams built out around that function, obviously, since it's core to the business. So we're monitoring and we have every broker is assigned to a direct rep on our side. And so we're in constant communication around the receivables. We're doing $4 or $5 billion in total freight spend a year. And so we're in constant communication with those debtors. And if we start to hear, hey, we got to move your payment terms back. We got to look at this. We got to start paying you a little more slowly. Then we're going to try and get more information and try and work with them to find a solution. But ultimately, if we feel like it's a risk to ourselves or our clients, we're going to put them on credit hold or.
So it's kind of like one of those situations where your buddy's like has an open Venmo request. He hasn't accepted it. Like you kind of nudge him a couple times, then you got to be like, hey, what's going on? Like, you good? Or
yeah, I mean, generally, so I mean, that got a lot of coverage. Obviously, we did not. That was not something where it was outside our normal kind of credit protocols. To be honest with you, we effectively reached out and said, hey guys, your credit's getting a little overextended. You've been paying us more slowly. We need you to pay down your credit limit, and we need you to provide us with financials so that we can get a little better picture into how the business is performing. They basically said no. So we said, all right, well, if you're not going to furnish them, then we're going to have to put you on no buy. We did it. It affected their capacity and their ability to book trucks. So they called us and we worked through it, which basically involved us lowering their credit limit to it and an area we felt comfortable with. Obviously, a month or a month and a half later, we all know how that worked out. So it's a really interesting time. It's not something that we've been generally we don't want to cut brokers off, right? I mean, we want our carriers to have as many options as possible to go out and find freight. So if we're doing that, it's because we feel like there's a good reason to, or we just don't have a high degree of certainty that we're going to be able to collect when we expect to. So yeah, we're having a lot of conversations right now across the space. I think you see just in brokerage, it's a pretty tough time. Obviously, truckers are struggling as well, but we haven't seen a time like this where you've seen kind of broker operational costs and just costs to service freight seem like they've never been higher. But brokerage margin per load is about as low as it has been that I can remember. So it's a really interesting time.
Where is it at right now, Clayton? The margin. What are you saying?
Great. I mean, we're not a brokerage, but certainly when we talk to people, the thing that they're constantly telling us is that obviously freight rates are way down, which for a transactional business that's based on, generally speaking, a relative take. You talk about, I think 2 factors are contributing to that margin per load. Rates being down 30, 40%, depending on what lane you're looking at. And then the competitiveness in the brokerage space, because there were 10,000 brokers that entered the space over the last couple of years. So the competitiveness means that your take rate, the relative percentage, has probably been squeezed a little bit as well. So let's say you're a 15%, average gross margin broker. If the marketplace becomes more competitive and that is driven down to 12%, and then on top of that, let's just say that your average freight rate used to be $2,000 and it's $1,500 now. The compounding effects of that, when you've layered in a bunch of costs over the COVID boom, if you will, in freight and transportation, which you saw tons of brokers investing in technology. They're hiring a bunch of people to win as much freight as they possibly could. I think the combination of those 2 things working at once has put some folks in a little bit of an unusual position.
Sure. I'm wondering, like, from the shipper aspect, or shipper side, have you noticed that shippers are also paying slower?
It's a great question. The short answer is no. For the most part, we haven't seen that. In our brokerage relationships, where we're going direct to shippers to bill them and collect on behalf of our brokerage clients, generally speaking, we haven't seen a ton of degradation in kind of the shipper credit universe. Obviously, you're going to see one-offs where people are struggling depending on where they fit in kind of the economic landscape. But for the most part, we haven't seen a ton of shipper-related credit degradation.
Okay. That's interesting. So, what are you foreseeing in the next few months when it pertains to specifically VC-backed, I don't know, digital freight brokerages that raise a lot? I guess my question is more is there a larger problem with those entities that raise a lot of money compared to regular bootstrapped brokerages?
I think I would say the problems are more symptoms of that than necessarily directly attributable to that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I think there was an article published about overfunding and how that changes your approach as a brokerage, which I think is really important, because if your approach is to go out and win market share at any cost, that's going to be very, very tough to continue to do in this type of environment. And I think the folks that have traditionally been able to go to, other funding sources where, this is the thing, if you're not making money on the freight, bottom line money, right? Gross margin minus your operational costs all the way down to EBITDA or net income, or however you want to look at it. It means there's going to be some sort of shortfall somewhere. And so traditionally, brokers have either borrowed against their receivables, which is made up primarily of carrier pays, which, we're going to publish a white paper shortly to kind of bring the industry up to speed on how that impacts freight brokers, because it's pretty complicated how that stuff works. And you see when brokers file bankruptcy, the vast majority of those outstanding credit obligations are to carriers. Mm-hmm. Because they've borrowed significant sums off of really short-term liabilities, which is what that carrier payable is. But all that to say, if you're losing money on freight, there's going to be a shortfall somewhere. Traditionally, those VC-backed or even private equity-backed brokerages have been able to go to the marketplace of capital providers and say, hey, it's still our long-term vision. We're aiming toward profitability. We're going to get there at some certain point. And they've been able to raise vast sums of money over the last several years to fill the gap, right? They're losing money on their freight, but they can fill the gap because they have these markets that are open for business and are willing to give them money. That market has not completely dried up, but you're not seeing funds flow into the space like you did the last 2 or 3 years. And so then the question is, well, where do you go for money? If you're not making money, you're probably not going to have, or it's going to be more difficult to get kind of an institutional line of credit. You don't have the ability to go to these venture capitalists or private equity providers in a lot of cases, because those guys are saying, hey, show me profitability now, or a very short path if you want more money. And so what options do they have? Right? Because if they stop growing, then the thesis that they built their business off of, they're never going to be able to raise money again because they're raising money based off growth. So it's this rock and a hard place that I think they've found themselves in a lot of cases. I think people that have been focused on shoring up their operational costs are the ones that are going to have the best chance to come out and flourish. You know, we talked to a lot of brokers, like I said, and we've requested a lot of financials over the last several months, to be honest with you. And folks that were wary of their margin beginning to shrink and the cost that they layered on and beginning to unwind those, the folks that were making those decisions earlier in the year are the ones that are in the much better position now. If they continue to try and fight the market by, putting on a ton of cost via new business acquisition, et cetera, those are the guys that we found are struggling, and they're having to make those hard decisions now of, well, where do we go to cut costs? Do we, reduce our investments in technology? Do we trim headcount, which you're seeing across the industry in some cases? But I think the people that are not making those hard decisions, because you guys tell me if you have a different opinion, but like, it doesn't seem like things are improving. October for us was from a rate perspective was down relative to September, which is like pretty anomalous.
Not normal.
Generally speaking, September to October is when you start to see that.
Clayton, let me ask you something, Clayton. Are you guys brokers are under obligation? They're obligated to share financials with you guys on a regular basis, correct?
Not really. It's interesting. That's not traditionally how we underwrite brokers, because it's been a pretty solid space. You don't traditionally see freight brokers going out of business because you haven't really seen a market like this. And so we will and have traditionally requested financials.
Wait, so let me ask you a question, because that's not what I was expecting you to say, which is interesting. Like, okay, so they don't share financials with you. Maybe you're asking for them now more than you were ever before. And that makes sense. But like, so you were solely judging whether or not somebody was thumbs up or thumbs down with you guys based on just days, like if they're paying you, like if the rate they're paying you at is the same as it's been, and you just watch that fluctuation, and that's how you determine whether someone's up or down.
Yeah, our data, obviously, which is pretty robust and has grown over the course of the last decade plus. And then we use some ancillary sources that basically give us some insight into how they're paying other folks. That is the primary method traditionally of how we've underwritten. But it's very easy for us, like I said, because we have boots on the ground that are communicating with these guys on a regular basis. If something is unusual, it's generally unusual for a reason. And so we're able to get on those issues really quickly and determine, and that's the situation where we go in and request financials to get more insight. But traditionally brokers have not gone bankrupt, right? I can think of a handful literally over the course of my career, 11 plus years in transportation factoring, where these guys have gone belly up with significant kind of payables owed to motor carriers. So it's a different dynamic. And the fact that these guys are so leveraged creates a really, really...
I don't think people realize, like, I did not know that they were leveraging short-term payables like that.
Yep.
That's crazy. Like,
it is.
That's like mortgage-backed security stuff in my mind.
It's really interesting, man. I think you have commercial bankers who have gotten comfortable with the collateral, because what's effectively happened is you have brokers who are writing in their contracts that obviously carriers can't go and contact shippers, which makes sense, assuming that the carrier is getting paid, right? And so when, for instance, a carrier goes bankrupt and they have, let's say, $10 million outstanding in carrier payables, they've likely borrowed $7 to $8 million if they have some sort of asset-based lending facility from a commercial lender. And the value of that freight from a shipper perspective, right? Like their total AR is probably, let's just say if it's 10 million in carrier payables, let's just say best case scenario, it's 12 million in AR that they have outstanding. So you have 10 plus the 7 or 8 that they've borrowed, that's 17 or 18, but you really only have $12 million in collateral. So there's this huge gap where now you have commercial lenders that are going and trying to pursue payment to make themselves whole. But the vast majority of that collateral that they've underwritten is the short-term liability of a carrier payable.
Oh my God.
And so we're literally in some situations, currently where we're having to, I think the market is determining, or the courts or the market or the participants are determining, who has a right to that money. And that's not something that has been discussed much at all for the last decade, like I said, because it just hasn't had to have been addressed, right? The market was kind of
is every big brokerage employing a strategy like this?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for everybody. I can tell you it's a commonly used financing. ABL is super, super common in the vast majority of industries. We use an asset-based lending facility. But the problem is when the assets that you're borrowing against have an 80 to 90% of those assets are tied up in those short-term liabilities. That's when I think things start to get a little precarious. But yeah, I'd say, a lot of them are.
That was very surprising to hear.
I'm curious, Clayton, how much, you don't have to tell us specifically, but with the amount that Convoy probably owes you, I'm guessing there is. Could you tell us maybe a little bit? Are they planning on paying all that back to carriers, factoring companies? What does that look like? Because I know that Convoy did announce that they will pay all the carriers that they owe money to. So how does that work on the factoring side? And can you ask who else you've turned off recently, or would you like to keep that private?
I'd have to go and look at the list. As far as, obviously, when we get financials, we're not able to share that information. But certainly our clients have access to brokers that are approved versus not approved. And it is, we have, for perspective, right, there are probably 1,500 brokers on our not approved list. And so it's not a small list. Yeah. Some of those guys do very, very little amounts of freight. Some of them do more. Regarding Convoy, I don't know is the short answer. I hope so. But there's a lot of factors at play that are unique to that situation too, right? They're trying to sell. They haven't filed for bankruptcy because I think they're trying to sell a portion of the technology, which maybe Flexport or somebody else is going to buy. I don't know. But so it's like I said, these situations are so unique and new that they're really unfolding and playing out in real time. We have significantly less exposure than we did before. Obviously, we put them on no-buy and had that conversation. And we deploy credit insurance if we do feel like there's a need to. So we'll insure some of the back end AR. A lot of our agreements with our factoring clients are non-recourse, and so we kind of eat the credit liability, which is fine. Expecting carriers to be able to make these really complicated and dynamic credit decisions, I think is, especially the small carriers, these guys don't have the information and they certainly don't have the time to be making these types of decisions. So, that's a risk we take as a business that we feel like is of value to those folks. But we do have some exposure. Some of it is insured, as I mentioned, and it's significantly less than it was a couple of months ago.
So this is a question, I guess, maybe for all of you guys, but is there something for brokers, kind of like a score that's the same way, similar to what let's say Carrier Sure or Highway have for carriers, is like the only meaningful score for a broker actually just basically like a credit approval rating. I guess I was talking to Paul about this the other day, and I mean, at least we don't know of anything that's.
Yeah, there's, I mean, Ansonia, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with, that Equifax bot. They have some data. It tends to lag, just like the vast majority of consortium data tends to lag, just because people are obviously amalgamating it and putting it together and then sending it in. And in the world we're in currently, 15 or 30 days is the difference between a really high amount of exposure and a significantly lower one, which is why I think blending the data that we're getting from those sources along with the data that we have from our experiences. But I would say there's not a robust financials driven credit kind of source for brokers currently.
And it wouldn't really make sense. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it would really make sense to have, like, let's say, maybe a safety score for a broker. Because I mean, unless they're operating some type of assets themselves, but then not really a broker, I guess. But
are you asking about like? Are you asking about like actual like a qualitative score, not like something like or well, I'm not qualitative. I mean,
I'm more so asking of like, what is the equivalent for brokers that there exists today for carriers, such as things like a carrier score from Highway or from
nothing.
Yeah,
there's probably I know broker 411 exists. I don't think anyone actually uses it though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you look at days to pay, and that's what carriers look at. That's what factoring companies typically look at. I heard this week from someone that like a red flag for a factoring company is like when like the days to pay like dips below like 42 days, or I mean gets longer than 42 days. Like, do you know, like, is that like a number that you look at too, Clayton, at OTR? Like,
I'd say it's less the number and more the trend. Okay. So, we have brokers that pay us and have been paying us in 38 days for many, many years. And if that trend begins to tip toward 40 or 42 potentially, the trend is telling us something. And so we're looking into that. It's the same if somebody's paying us in 31 days and it begins to slip to 33 or 35. I'd say that's just as impactful potentially to us as far as trying to inform our decision as the hard number.
Sure. Okay. So, and you also mentioned, Clayton, that right now you have 1,500 brokers and like that you have do not. I'm not sure. Like you don't give them any credit approval or. How does that compare to last year?
That's a great question. I don't have that offhand, to be honest with you. I'd imagine it's probably pretty close. It's probably more just because the marketplace, I think, has grown over the last couple of years, and so there are just more brokers. And generally speaking, we're waiting for kind of brokers to build credit over the course of the first 6 months to a year they're in business. So those kind of newer guys are generally, it's going to be tougher for us to get them approved. Of course, like I said, like our objective is to approve as many as we possibly can. I mean, the more freight we can put out to our carriers, I think the better, because it gives them more options. But I'd say it's probably pretty close, but up a little.
I'm guessing a lot also like went out of business or closed doors.
Yeah, so if you're counting those, then it's probably a lot higher. I mean, it's really interesting. There were 8,000 brokers who were founded in 2022, operating at the end of 2022, if that makes sense, right? And so 8,000 that were founded, there were more founded, but at the end of 2022, 8,000 of them were still around. Today, that number is like 3,000.
Okay.
And so 5,000 of those brokers have churned out and had their authority revoked in 10 months, which is pretty unprecedented, right? Generally speaking, we are seeing that churn much higher in the newer brokers, which is not surprising, less established, but that's a unique number because you see 2020 and then 2021, 2022, the number of broker applicants went absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
And the number of operating brokers went crazy. And then you started to see that kind of market correction as things have softened over the course.
Are you guys factoring for more brokers now? Like, is that trend? Is that I didn't? I'll be honest. Like, I didn't even realize that brokers factored. Like,
yeah,
that's probably a stupid thing to not know. But like,
no, I think it's less. It gets a lot. Obviously, it gets a lot less attention than carrier factoring.
Yeah.
But I'd say, yeah, we are factoring for more brokers in this type of environment than we were a year or two ago. Although, from our perspective, and it's advantageous if you want to grow. It's also advantageous if you're trying to batten down the hatches and make sure that you can kind of supplement your working capital. So there are applications and kind of both ends of the marketplace. But yeah, we certainly have gotten a lot of inbound interest recently.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Clayton, where do you live?
I live in Roswell, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. So I'm in our.
You're not far from Chattanooga then.
No, it's a short trek. Where are you guys?
I'm in Arizona. They're in Illinois.
Yeah.
Got it. So I assume you're flying from Sunday. Chicago guys are driving.
So.
Well, no. I'm flying to Chicago, and we're driving together
on
Sunday.
Yeah, we were actually looking up before you joined us, Clayton. We were looking up truck stops to stop along the way, and then Reed hit up some of his a friend that's a trucker, and he told us to go through Champaign, which is my alma mater. So we're gonna go and drive through Champaign.
Nice,
Illinois.
Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you guys there. We'll be up there. We got a few folks going up.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You get there on Monday, Clayton? If you do, we're having an event.
Okay.
So let us know. One is at Repower, and the other one is at Text Locate. So we'll be. It's in the evening on Monday.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll definitely try to make it.
Cool. Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us, Clayton, today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
Great insights.
Yeah. Hopefully see y'all soon.
Cool.
Yep. See you, Clayton.
All right. Take it easy.
Stay clean. All right, guys.
Dude, now that I think about it, like, we're gonna eat Mexican food at like 10 a.m. on a drive.
I'm gonna eat Mexican food.
I'm down. I'm down, but like I'm not gonna be moving like that if I'm eating Mexican
might be dangerous.
Food. Yeah. But that actually might be part of like appropriate, because a lot of truckers post like the food that they're eating like daily. Like Billy the Spud always is tweeting about all his meals, and they're always like good looking meals. So maybe we just need to like eat really well on the drive.
Yeah. Reed, so you're gonna fly in tomorrow evening. We got to start planning a little bit, doing that stuff. But yeah, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. I'm gonna
another successful Freight Gong Friday.
Yeah, I'm gonna just hit the gong one more time, and I'm gonna call it a day. So share this having said, and I wish you guys an amazing Friday.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
See it.